Hello. In this video, we will see together how to create a list in SharePoint Online. Lists are an extremely useful tool and are the foundation of the entire SharePoint system. A list can be compared to a database or perhaps an Excel file where we can decide the structure of our data. I can create contact lists, approval lists, schedules, anything I want because I have the ability to define all the columns that represent my data. Let's see together within a SharePoint site how to create these lists.
Excuse me for a moment, I just wanted to quickly introduce myself, then I'll let you continue. I am one of the Microsoft MVPs and I am an expert in all the technologies revolving around Microsoft 365. So if you want updates on SharePoint, the world of intranet, perhaps on Teams or Microsoft Copilot, make sure to subscribe to this channel.
First of all, remember that to create a list, I need to have full control permission of the site or editing permission. If I have these two permissions, I can see the new button within the command bar at the top left of the page. If I click on the new button, I immediately see the option to create a new list. Creating a list takes me to an experience where I have the option to choose how to create my list. I can create a list from scratch, or I can create it by copying the structure from an existing list. This is because I might want to reuse the columns I have already created in a list that I am currently using. Or I have the option to create a list with the structure of columns and even content starting from an Excel file or a CSV file. Alternatively, I have the option to use one of the templates that Microsoft provides to create a new data record, a new list. I can create lists to support the onboarding of new employees in the company. I can create a list that help me manage company assets, mobile devices, computers, or lists that help me manage travel requests, payment requests, requests from new people who might want to join the company. In fact, lists are a very versatile tool for managing any type of data. As a final option, I also have the possibility to create lists from templates that my organization, my company, has made available to me. Now, in the tab from your organization, I don't have anything because I haven't created any templates yet, but know that if you create lists that you think can be reusable or perhaps used as inspiration by your colleagues, you can create a list and then save it as a template within the site. Very, very useful. In my case, I decide to create a list from scratch, and the first thing SharePoint asks me is the name of the list. In this case, I call it contact list. I then have the option to choose a description for my list, which is not mandatory, so I can decide whether to include it or not, and then I can choose whether to have this list within the navigation of my site or not. In this case, I choose not to see it within the navigation. Without this option, the list is visible within the site's content area, which you can access from the gear icon at the top right of the page. If I want to create the list, I click on the Create button. As soon as I create the list, SharePoint Online takes me directly to the page where I see the structure of my list and the contents. Clearly, since it's a new list, I don't see any content, but I do have a first field, a first column that is present by default in all new lists, the title column. It is a very important column that cannot be removed. The only thing we can do at most is rename it by clicking on the action button directly above the column name, column settings, and then rename. In this case, I want to rename it to last name, and I click on save. Then I have the possibility to define the structure of my list by creating new columns. In this case, I want to define a contact. So last name is fine for me. The first name of my contact. So I create a new text type column and call it first name. And then I want a new text type column and call it email. And then I want a final choice type column to identify the type of contact. This is clearly just an example. With all the types of columns available, you can create the lists of records you want. In my case, I name the column contact type and I want the values to be client, supplier, partner, or employee. Keep in mind that for each choice, you have the option to link it to a color code chosen from those available in SharePoint. Having done this, I quickly created the structure of my list. Every time I add columns to the list, SharePoint is so flexible that it automatically creates the page for entering and editing this data, so that if I want to enter the data of a contact termine, I want to add to this registry, I simply click on the add Add New Item button, and then I can start entering all the data I want. In this case, you see the contact type column, which was a bit more particular compared to the others that were just text type. It allows me to choose a value from a list. Okay, I click on I save, and there you go. Our registry starts to have data. I also have the same possibility to insert or modify in grid mode, a bit like an Excel file. So by clicking on the edit button in the grid, I have the possibility to enable a quick editing experience of our data. So as I was saying, a bit like in Excel, I can click on add new data to add a new contact to my registry. And as you can see, I can move within the grid simply using the keyboard there, exactly as if I were in Excel. Once I have finished entering new data in this mode, I simply need to exit this view to return to the classic view. Every time I add a new column, you should know that SharePoint automatically creates all the options to sort this column or to group the data by the column. You see, in this case, I have grouped by type of contact or to filter the column. In this case, I choose to filter by employee type contacts, and thus I have immediately applied a sort of filter that shows me the data I want. This is how you create all the records within SharePoint Online, which are extremely useful for digitizing processes with SharePoint Online. Consider that with data of this type, you then have the possibility to create customized forms for easier data entry. Integrations are possible. It is also possible to create automations through Power Automate to ensure that, for example, an approval is made on data of this type or any kind of automation involving Microsoft 365 tools. This is thanks to Power Automate. I recommend watching my videos on Power Automate to better understand how to make these two objects interact within Microsoft 365. Well, in this video we have seen how to create a new list within SharePoint. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Goodbye.